Good to be back at Deadla 1 in again. Why is it still called that again? As always, great to see Shawn Michaels, though I wonder if he had some sort of announcement for the audience that ended up getting interrupted by CM Punk. Perhaps if Punk had waited an extra minute, we would have found out. The mysteries have already begun. Who would have thought that CM Punk was incapable of making surprise appearances in the WWE after the big one took place at Survivor Series 2 weeks ago? I certainly was one of them, though with a slightly less shocked face. We only got 2 sins on the counter, might as well take them off and start fresh again. After all, that seems to be what CM Punk is doing as well. Because NXT put the penalty box right beside the commentator's desk, I got shuddering reminders of the time Michael Cole had his infamous coal mine in 2011. I know I can't be the only one who thought the coal mine briefly returned before realizing what that was.
Nice hoodie!
You gotta love the callback to Shawn Michaels' feud with Bret the Hitman Hart. Man, those were such good days. Not to mention CM Punk hiding his villainous intentions while also hinting at a dark future. The smallest of details matter. Back to the start.
I got good news and bad news.
We never get to hear the bad news, or the good news for that matter. CM Punk only asks the audience if they want to see him on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT, and then his music hits before anyone can say anything else. With CM Punk having his time cut short on Raw, his references to AEW on SmackDown, and his music cutting his time short on NXT, someone is definitely pulling the strings here to keep him in check, and I wonder who it could possibly be. Hope I don't keep saying this throughout the Sins video, but back to the start.
As the hours have turned to minutes.
Actually, there's no countdown at all because the show has just begun. If this were the pre-show, then you'd be right on the hours turning into minutes here. This opening match seems all over the place, mostly because Rey Mysterio has been taken out with an injury at the hands of Santos Escobar, but then randomly decides to mess with his son Dominic again out of boredom. He hasn't spoken to or messed with his son for at least half a year, but decided to cost him the NXT North American Championship by bringing Dragon Lee into the mix. Also, this is more awkward than you think. On an NXT pay-per-view, the North American Championship is being contested between main roster wrestlers from Raw and SmackDown. Originally, Wes Lee was supposed to be Dominic's opponent until he got hurt, but you mean to tell me they couldn't have a replacement opponent from NXT instead of somebody else from the main roster? Or is it because Dragon and Wes both share the same name Lee?
I'm looking around.
Dominic Mysterio whips his head forward in an attempt to mess up his hairstyle, but nothing ends up happening.
You're going to be thanking him for some of the things he's been saying about you.
Dang, Vic Joseph is a snitch, instantly ratting out Booker T for the latter saying mean things about Rey Mysterio and praising Dominic Mysterio at the ass.
You know there's no such thing as a night off.
Unless you're Roman Reigns.
He's a man that writes his own ship.
Dominic Mysterio? Riding his own ship? Without the Judgment Day? Well, he does tonight, but Booker is acting like he does that on a weekly basis. Ouch. I won't lie, I flinched pretty bad when Dominic Mysterio connected the DDT on Dragon Lee, causing him to fall from the ring apron to the floor. It's a good thing Dragon landed on the apron first, because that definitely would be the end of his career had he landed head first on the floor from up there. Let's just be thankful he didn't.
Because Dom hasn't taken his eyes off his father.
Actually, throughout the last 3 minutes, Dominic looked over at Rey maybe once or twice, but kept his focus on Dragon most of the time. Funny how the commentators would ignore that if it were the other way around.
It took him years. Dom did it in his first year.
Now Booker T is just making stuff up. It took Rey Mysterio years to become a world champion. True. But Dominic Mysterio has never even touched a world championship. Why can't heel commentators actually talk sense and be able to back up their annoying claims? One of the things I got heat for in the previous NXT Sins is my constant sinning of the commentators. I said I'd tone it down, but come on, can't y'all see this is the reason why the commentators get sinned all the time?
Dom into the comfy.
Dominic Mysterio is an idiot. Obviously not the first time somebody would say that. He conveniently loses this match a little bit after choosing to lift Dragon Lee's shoulders off the canvas. Bad idea.
Talk about bad problems.
Holy shit, that was scary and awesome to watch. Perfect execution and timing by Dragon Lee. What a moment.
The champion, Dominic.
Amazing super kick on an upside down Dominic Mysterio. Now we're definitely getting to the cool moments of what makes NXT so much fun to watch.
Dragon Lee looking for that power bomb.
It's good that Dominic Mysterio quickly took advantage of the botched powerbomb attempt by making it look like he countered, but a botch is still a botch. I give Dominic credit for the ring awareness on the mistake, but still gotta place a sin for said mistake. Why is Vic Joseph acting like Dominic is just trying to mock his own father? He's acting like Dominic hasn't been using the 619 for literally his entire career, even before joining the Judgment Day. Even Rey himself knows that Dominic always does this.
Coming right. Get cover. Oh my God!
You gotta admit that you expected Dominic Mysterio to kick out of this ending. Hell, even the crowd did because there wasn't many counting along for the pin. This was one of those, oh shit, he actually won moments, and the crowd reaction nailed it when the realization kicked in. I know that one of the conditions of WWE hosting their premium live events on Peacock is having these commercials, but it really seems like NXT has the longer commercials compared to the main roster. Main roster pay-per-views, these last about 3 minutes. NXT pay-per-views, these last around 5 to 6 minutes.
The clock starts as soon as the feet hits the floor.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. I touched base on this last year, but the 90-second timer for a wrestler going into the penalty box should only start when said wrestler is in the penalty box and the door is shut. Otherwise, they can just hang out outside the ring all they want for the whole 90 seconds and no consequences will happen. Interesting thing to note here, in the Women's Iron Survivor match, all the names on the scoreboard are the first names of the competitors. Meanwhile, in the Men's Iron Survivor match, all the names on the scoreboard are the last names of the competitors.
This moment.
Vic, just think about all the energy.
This goes on for quite some time. It was humorous the first 3 times the pins were countered, but the next 15 times is when it gets a little much.
Oh, the Wicked Witch of NXT.
Blair Davenport took Alexa Bliss's former nickname from 2016 apparently, and now I've got nostalgia from those wonderful days. Hey, when Alexa returns from a maternity leave, she should reignite the Wicked Witch of WWE name and have a battle of witches against Blair.
For some help to come out.
Fallon Henley would have to be insane if she thinks any of the other 3 competitors would show up to help her in this match. In a match where you gotta score the most points to win, the last thing anyone would think of is to help one of their opponents.
Trying to turn her luck around.
The hell was that supposed to be, a butt breaker?
It was about 35.
Tiffany Stratton is the next competitor to enter the Iron Survivor match, and the first thing Fallon Henley does is pretend that Blair Davenport no longer exists in the match, which ends up being her undoing in a moment. The one thing I gotta take a sin off for here is the double arm submission on Fallon Henley, because having 2 competitors ripping each of your arms at the same time is painful as hell. Not to mention a smart strategy if they each want a point to stay ahead of the competition.
Come into this matchup and oh!
Gotta love it when you see 2 wrestlers team up in a match only for one of them to make the other fall into their trap. Blair should have known better than to trust Tiffany on any occasion, especially tonight.
And now she's taking them both out by a look. Oh!
Man, the way Tiffany Stratton set up that innovative version of the Alabama Slam was, well, innovative. Is this the 3rd center mover in a row here? That doesn't usually happen on these videos much. Guess a good night is a good night.
Davenport here. She got one.
Make that the 4th center mover in a row because Blair Davenport had quite the smart strategy by waiting until Tiffany Stratton hit the Alabama Slam on Fallon Henley before taking advantage. You love to see it. I don't know why, but when I look at Kelani Jordan's name graphics on the stage, I feel like I need to be wearing 3D glasses to truly see them. Like, what is that? Penalty box cam.
Still don't know why Stratton was so upset with Henley dressing as her for Halloween.
Why does that even matter at this point? We're in December, heading into the Christmas season. Who cares about what went down in the Halloween season?
How much time we got left? How much time we got left?
There's literally a clock in the corner of the screen, and somehow Booker T doesn't know how much time is left in the match. Oh, I don't know, maybe another frickin' hour? What would have been more awesome is if Lash Legend entered the Iron Survivor match and connected a double powerbomb superplex combination on all 4 of her opponents, and then went on to pin all 4 of them to score 4 points at once. So close.
Right shoulders down low.
Lash Legend watched WrestleMania 37 prior to tonight and got inspired. Hey look, it paid off for her because that was one of the smartest strategies to perform in this type of match. Scored 2 points and took the lead in one single motion. I gotta take off 2 cents for that. Both Fallon Henley and Tiffany Stratton got pinned by Lash Legend at the same time, yet Fallon gets an extra second of penalty time. That doesn't seem fair at all. Why does she get 91 seconds inside the penalty box, but Tiffany doesn't? Rigged. Why doesn't Lash Legend simply jump backwards while in this position? It's the best way to get both Kelani Jordan and Blair Davenport off of her, not to mention would allow Lash to score 2 more points and take a 4-1 lead over second place. Or at least 1 more point, given Kelani would be crushed under the weight of both women. Shut up, I'm not assuming anything here.
Whoa!
My hand slapped my mouth because I got so scared that Kelani Jordan potentially injured herself really bad. Landed on the announce table almost identical to that one guy whose name I forgot. Forget about her missing Lash Legend completely, you gotta be careful when there's little to no room for these maneuvers. Metaphor is actually stupid enough to think that this strategy will work, not realizing there is no roof above the penalty box. Have these guys never seen a hockey game? I get that Tiffany Stratton and Fallon Henley are opponents in this match, but right now they have a common goal of getting out of their trapped situation. Why are they bothering to fight each other? Also, why are Tiffany and Fallon fighting in the penalty box right now, but throughout the entire time they were serving their 90-second sentence, no fights whatsoever?
Look up!
This match has gotten more awesome. Fallon sailing out of the penalty box through the announce table, and Tiffany flying out of there on a metaphor in Blair Davenport. Let's take off another 2 cents. This is amazing.
And Lash now.
While Blair is the one who ultimately wins this Iron Survivor match, Lash Legend is the true standout of the whole thing. With her smart strategies and show of strengths, it was very, very impressive. This match is the perfect way to showcase the talent in NXT.
Clock continuing to tick.
This late into the match and no points scored, why the hell is Tiffany Stratton choosing to taunt both Blair, Davenport, and Fallon Henley? She's got only 4 minutes to try and score 3 points here, and she's wasting precious time.
Could this be it high from the
Will it gain her one?
There's always that one competitor who never scores a point, and it's a shame because Kelani Jordan has shown that she's amazing in the ring.
10 seconds. Blair Davenport's got to survive.
Blair Davenport takes a page out of Grayson Waller's playbook from last year and runs all over the place in the final 10 seconds after taking the lead and winning the match. Still one of the smartest things you can do in a match like this. Congratulations on the win, here are 5 sins taken off.
Years. What the hell?
Whoa!
Cora Jade returns after being out for several months and the crowd could sadly care less about it. What a shame.
You got this in the bag, bro.
Yep.
Carmelo Hayes is not even trying to hide his suspicious behavior at this point. He encourages Trick Williams that he has the Iron Survivor match in the bag, but then has a look of confusion when Trick agrees with him. What, did he think Trick would have second thoughts about how he would perform in tonight's match? That was weird. Lexus King using a movable throne just to appear on the stage and not using it to get into the ring. If he's a king here, then wouldn't you want the throne to be taken to the ring like the King of the Ring used to? I guess this guy's name is no longer Carmelo Hayes. From this point forward, his name is simply him according to these graphics.
Hand from Lexus King.
Carmelo Hayes better be careful as he almost broke Lexus King's leg the way he landed from that tackle. Carmelo Hayes believes that Lexus King is the one who attacked Trick Williams, yet when the latter is on the outside of the ring, Carmelo chooses to toy with him instead of going after him.
He's right back in. Going right at you.
Man, those are some devastating punches to the air, am I right? Carmelo is going to town on anything but Lexus King.
Professional, it's personal.
Alright, I won't lie, the way Carmelo mocks Lexus after the latter whacked his hand on the ring post was funny, and because Carmelo only did it for a split second before taking advantage, it's worthy of a sin remover here.
That book and not going to pull any punch.
Mellow right here, like I said.
I'm sorry, but I gotta throw in 3 more sins. Lexus King literally injured his hand by chopping the ring post as hard as he could, followed by Carmelo Hayes whacking it on the ring apron, and then literally stomping on it against the steel stairs. And then immediately after that, Lexus suddenly healed his hand and was able to chop Carmelo without any sort of pain whatsoever. That's not just no-selling, it makes 0 sense entirely. Come on.
The in-between things.
Nice.
Dang, Lexus King has so much power in his moves that he accidentally caused the turnbuckle padding to get ripped off the corner. Whoopsie.
Take some of that pressure off the...
Ah yes, the old I can't get out, so I'm going to awkwardly spank my opponent's butt to cause him to get creeped out, which is how I escape trick.
Firing on all...
If I'm being honest, Lexus King should not make this rookie mistake by offering another handshake. If Carmelo Hayes wasn't going to accept it when the match began, no chance in hell that he's going to accept it nearly 10 minutes in.
Looking for position. And it's Hayes and it's not.
Lexus King probably did not get the victory following the jackhammer because his name is not Bill Goldberg.
And a third.
Lexus King tried to hit a backbreaker on Carmelo Hayes, but only ended up causing Carmelo to land on his own legs and damage them instead.
Thank you for that PLE spotlight.
Lexus King only took part in the mystery of who attacked Trick Williams just to get a spotlight on a premium live event, just trying to chase clout. Kudos on the strategy. Gotta do what you gotta do in order to get a spotlight.
Men's Iron!
Only halfway through this event and we're already going for the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge match, despite that being the sole reason this pay-per-view concept exists. I would have honestly put this either in the main event or before the main event like last year.
I don't want a catchphrase here.
Vic Joseph hoping to stop himself from being sinned. Mission failed.
What do you think about Tyler Bate?
He's a big, strong boy.
Well, at least Booker T is talking sense in this case. Tyler Bate may be the smallest competitor in this match, but he has definitely proven over the years that he can hang with the bigger opponents. For once, kudos to Booker T's commentary. Remember when I said earlier that the scoreboard showed the women's first names but the men's last names? Interesting to note that, aside from Dijak, who just uses the single name, Trick Williams is the only competitor in this match whose first name is used on the scoreboard. I'd assume it's because Williams is a longer name than Trick, but the counter to that is Williams has the same amount of letters as Breaker.
How would you strategize?
I mean, we already saw an Iron Survivor match less than an hour ago. Don't you think we really should have asked that question then?
Didn't work out for it, but I feel the same.
Early on, I'm already removing a sin because it is still amazing at how athletic Dijak is for someone his height. Perfect flip-through counter of Josh Briggs' hip toss.
And do some of the things that Briggs.
Dijak isn't the only one who deserves the praise for amazing athleticism. Josh Briggs, a man who's 6'8", manages to perfectly execute a Hurricane Rana just from jumping in the air and wrapping his legs around Dijak's neck. I'm taking off another sin, but I'm also shocked and disappointed that the crowd could care less about that somehow.
She won from the first position.
Technically, Blair Davenport won from the second position because she drew number 2 while Fallon Henley drew number 1. Just saying.
Power used.
Ooh, big boot, Dijak.
Josh Briggs got so fired up from the big boot that he almost slipped off a Dijak completely in his pinfall attempt before having to readjust himself.
This could be huge for Dijak.
Wow.
Won't lie, that was one of the most perfectly timed things ever. Dijak connects Feast Your Eyes and successfully pins Josh Briggs at the precise moment the timer expires for the next competitor to arrive. No need to wait, here we go.
We're just talking about, and for bait,
Well, that was weird. Dijak catches Tyler Bate's leg and calmly puts it down instead of, I don't know, doing something effective. It only allows Tyler to have a window of opportunity. And when you got a 1-point lead, wouldn't you want to keep that going?
last chance on Tuesday. The Universe Online.
Tyler Bate takes all the time in the world standing around instead of immediately hitting the suplex throw onto Dijak, who stands around shaking his head in fear, instead of, I don't know, doing something to counter the move.
Who's looking to clean the clock?
I don't know why, but seeing Josh Briggs connect a clothesline from hell in tribute to JBL put a smile on my face. The way Dijak landed from it added into the massive impact the move has. I'm really enjoying this event a lot more than originally expected.
Briggs went way.
I'm just saying, what happens if someone gets thrown into the penalty box and accidentally destroys it? Do we just not have a penalty box for the remainder of the match then? Or would the wrestlers have to stand in the wreckage surrounded by referees and security? Important questions. See what I mean about the penalty box countdown? Dijak hasn't even entered the box yet, his 90-second timer has already begun. I get that the commentator said it starts with both feet hit the floor outside, but that once again deserves 5 sins because it's severely flawed.
It's left for Dijak, and then
I don't know if I should send Tyler Bate or Josh Briggs for being a dick to Josh's Briggs. I'll let y'all decide on that one.
could be joining him.
Tyler Bate's shoulder is clearly off the canvas throughout this entire pinfall, yet the referee chooses to ignore it and continue counting anyway. What a dick.
Oh, touch!
I laugh pretty hard at this moment because it's so funny and yet sad at the same time. Dijak just got out of the penalty box and within 10 seconds, he is sent back into it by Tyler Bate. I love it when these humorous moments happen. Obviously, the referee is distracted by Dijak still being in the ring after punching out Tyler Bate upon getting pinned. But man, how funny would it be if Tyler actually took the lead in this match, causing the next minute to just be an unconscious Tyler waiting for his next opponent. Off sync whoop that trick chance. I'm hearing whoop whoop that trick from the audience. Even if Trick Williams was successful in this pinfall attempt, he only would have logically scored 1 point as Dijak's shoulder is clearly off the canvas in the shot. Unless, of course, the referee would have ignored that obvious fact again.
2 for 1 there. No, they're strong, boy.
Trick Williams is probably standing there shocked because he knows he missed Tyler Bate completely, yet was still able to hurt him. Maybe he realized that he actually has the force within him. Nice move, nice moment, nice timing. Something tells me I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this Iron Survivor match. This spinning moment spins on for quite some spinning time, so much that I got the spins myself.
To that last chance.
What was that supposed to be, an armpit drop? That would definitely knock someone out if the executor forgot to put on deodorant prior to the match.
Bottom left as Briggs goes into the cover.
The referee's hand never hit the mat in the 1 count, yet this was somehow still a 2 count. The hand must connect the mat each time, otherwise you start over.
You know, maybe you got.
Alright, I gotta take another sin off for the creative chant from the audience, chanting free that Trick due to Trick being in the penalty box. That was cute.
Breaker shot. Not gonna work. This match. Gets
This matchup can stand.
Braun Breaker enters the match and immediately scores 3 points in 20 seconds. My god, this man absolutely deserves to be the future of this entire company. One of the most athletic and amazing wrestlers we've seen in years. Seriously hope it isn't too long before he moves on to the main roster because holy shit! Here are 3 more sins taken off the counter.
Scored the last 3 balls.
Normally I find it annoying when the ring announcer has to announce every single point scored, but this time I gotta take a sin off because she had no time to announce each of Braun Breaker's points and thus had to say it like that. For once, I'm having so much fun here.
Whoa, Booker, over to your right.
It has been shown several times tonight that there's a camera inside the penalty box, but on the one occasion where there's an actual brawl going on in the penalty box, the split screen is refusing to show itself.
What the hell's going on?
You are literally sitting right beside the penalty box. How the fuck do you not know what's going on in there, Booker? Considering Tyler Bate and Dijak have left the penalty box before the timer expires for them, shouldn't they be getting disqualified, or at least given another 90 seconds for breaking the rules? It is illegal to leave the penalty box before your time has been served. This is truly making the penalty box completely redundant to this match, and it's stupid. Here are 5 more sins.
Decision. Whoa! Frankenstein!
The Frankensteiner is amazing itself, but to see Tyler Bate catch a flying Dijak into the Tyler Driver 97 was even more amazing. So let's take off 2 sins this time.
Tyler Bate has
Instead of sitting around pouting, why doesn't Braun Breaker just get up and spear Tyler Bate into oblivion like he did earlier? He does have the chance since Tyler is getting up from pinning Dijak.
Williams with the door.
Braun Breaker. Man, he's just amazing at what he does. How this man did not get called up to the main roster after losing the NXT Championship to Carmelo Hayes is beyond me. Instead of immediately connecting a chokeslam, Dijak chooses to just stand there menacingly, as if that's going to eliminate Tyler Bate, you dumbass.
Double!
I was going to do a double center mover out of amazement from the two moonsaults by both Josh Briggs and Dijak, but considering Josh missed this target completely, it's just going to be one sin removed. Hey, at least the sin is being taken off regardless, so be happy.
Pin! Double decision!
Apparently getting pinned caused Braun Breaker to suddenly spin out of the ring when he logically should be nearly unconscious from the onslaught. And if he wasn't that affected, then why didn't he kick out of the pin?
Clubhouse goes to the top. Tornado!
As if Tyler Bate managing to stay balanced wasn't amazing enough, Dijak's perfect landing on the Tornado DDT made it even more amazing. These guys have perfect timing, which makes this match so freaking good.
Battling Dijak and Briggs!
This is awesome. How many damn sins have I removed in this one match? I gotta say, this was the one moment where I guarantee everybody believed it was over for Trick Williams, myself included. 0 points on the scoreboard, 2 minutes remaining. I figured it was over for him. Yet another freaking sin taken off the counter for NXT, making me lose faith in Trick Williams, and then ultimately proving me wrong later. The commentators be like, "Aw, damn it, we just got this table fixed up from the last time it broke. Can someone call the maintenance crew again?"
How the hell is Dijak on his feet?
What are you talking about? It was clearly Braun Breaker who went sailing into the announce table. Dijak was the one who connected the choke slam. Of course he'd be back on his feet, you idiot.
Eddie Thorpe!
Eddie Thorpe cost Dijak the chance to score another point by pulling the referee out of the ring, but instead of attacking Dijak immediately, Eddie climbs the ring apron to stand around menacingly. What is it with everyone standing around menacingly lately? No. I am throwing in 5 sins. Clearly the referee saw Eddie Thorpe punch Dijak, which means that Dijak should score another point as a result of a disqualification. I don't know who the hell would get disqualified, but that's what usually happens when outside interference attacks in a match that has disqualifications. So at the very least, Dijak should get an additional point here. Trick. Trick Williams manages to score 4 points in under 2 minutes and secure the victory. The way he got the win, along with the intense crowd reaction, made this the very best Iron Survivor match in its short history. Good luck topping that. Here are 10 more sins removed. This victory was absolutely deserved and perfectly executed. It apparently took nearly 2 hours just to get Dragon Lee's side plates put on the NXT North American Championship.
You should be hanging your head and shit.
Noam Dar makes fun of Josh Briggs and Fallon Henley for failing to win their respective Iron Survivor matches, while he's literally standing beside Lash Legend, who also failed to win the match. Oh, the irony of the situation.
I didn't lose. I ran out of time. Thank you.
I've heard many dumb excuses over the years, but that has got to be one of the dumbest excuses I've heard in a long time.
Jealous of Roxanne? No.
Denial.
Everyone around here giving her all the praise.
Kiana James claims to not be jealous of Roxanne Perez, but then goes on a rant about how people are praising Roxanne for winning the Breakout Tournament, the first Iron Survivor match, and becoming NXT Women's Champion. Sounds a lot like jealousy to me, because why the hell would people not praise Roxanne for those accomplishments? A steel cage match without the escape rule just doesn't feel the same, because the escape rule puts in added pressure on the wrestler who makes sure their opponent doesn't get away. Also, if Roxanne Perez was so concerned about Kiana James running away from her, couldn't she have requested a roof to be put on the cage? Or make it a Hell in a Cell match or something? If the production team were trying to make it look like Kiana James exited the helicopter, they did a poor job at it. Otherwise, interesting entrance choice.
Taste the steel tonight it is.
Even despite grabbing the cage with her hands, Kiana's head's still connected with the wall, not to mention that part of the wall is a lot more resistant due to the door connecting to it, yet somehow she is unaffected by the impact.
Did just enough to rock.
Oh my god, puns to Roxanne's name now? How the hell did we go from that amazing Iron Survivor match to this? Considering Kiana missed Roxanne's hand completely, I don't know if zooming in with the camera was the best idea here.
It takes years off a career.
Serious question to y'all since Booker T mentioned it. When the hell was the last time a steel cage match took years, literal years, out of somebody's career? Because I am honestly drawing a blank when I think about it.
Back into the game. Here we go.
Perez.
Either Roxanne Perez lost her balance and had to readjust herself before leaping onto Kiana James, or Kiana was a little late to the party, forcing Roxanne to wait a little longer. Either way, it's a sin, so I'm the true winner here.
They always go back to...
Because Kiana James took too long to counter, Roxanne Perez had to resort to adjusting herself over and over on the top of the cage. Also, this is unfortunate when you think about it. Roxanne and Kiana hinted at someone jumping off the top of the cage, but it sadly never happens. Thanks for getting our hopes up.
Bouncing off. Oh!
Well, at least there was one cool moment from this match. Awesome Pop Rocks counter from Roxanne. The rule of the steel cage match is you cannot win by escaping, and if the escape rule is not an option, why is the referee opening the door for Kiana James? Shouldn't he be abiding by the rules and telling Kiana that he cannot open the door for her? And why isn't the door locked if escape is not an option? So many questions here. Holy shit, what an insane moment! Who the hell was this again? Sorry, I get that we want to see how Kiana James gets the cheap victory, but outside interference on pay-per-view doesn't have the same impact if we don't know who the attacker is even upon seeing their face. That one moment when the NXT Championship match at Deadline is nearly identical to last year's. The NXT Champion takes on a guy who was hanging out on the main roster for years, thankfully with less fishing and dinner dates this time around.
I'm the only man that has put Ilia down.
In other words, it's not going to happen again tonight, because usually when a champion gets pinned by the challenger in the build-up to their title match, the opposite ends up happening in the actual title match.
My life is better.
Except when it wasn't in 2021.
He knows that others have gotten under the skin of Dragonov.
Let's analyze Baron Corbin's plan here. So he knows that others have gotten under the skin of Ilya Dragunov, which led to him absolutely annihilating them. And Baron's plan is to get under the skin of Ilya Dragunov, which will lead to Ilia absolutely annihilating him? Do I got that right? The table has been rebuilt for the third time tonight, but honestly I find it better when the table remains destroyed because showing remnants of the night's carnage is a lot better than fixing it back up as though the carnage never took place.
And they've reinforced our table.
Wouldn't the crew logically give the announce table reinforcements at every show given the history of it being destroyed all the time? Why would they wait until the table's been destroyed twice in a single night before reinforcing it? Ilya Dragunov when dealing with constipation.
Trying so hard.
Could do it.
Ilya Dragunov tried to hit Baron Corbin's hand to escape and then accidentally hit himself in his own Dragonovs. Whoopsie. I don't know if Ilya Dragunov is trying to look like a dead zombie in a movie or a model posing for a sexy magazine. All in all, that is a weird ass position to be in. Even Baron Corbin has a what the fuck look on his face at this. Nah, when Ilia gave Baron a hug in the build-up, it actually looked frightening because of what he's capable of. Here, Baron sadly doesn't have that same impact.
Corbin.
Corbin? Oh god, please don't tell me that's gonna be Baron Corbin's next ring name after all the crazy gimmick changes he's had over the years.
Control. Oh,
A kick to the arm was somehow enough to knock Baron Corbin into a woozy state. I've had my arm broken, and even I didn't feel woozy from that.
That may be it.
That may be it? Vic Joseph says that right as Ilya Dragunov kicks out of the pin, which means the match is not over. What do you mean, that may be it?
Oh no, he could do it.
Second time.
I'll honestly take a sin off even though the powerbomb attempt failed. Ilya Dragunov knew he wouldn't be able to lift Baron Corbin, so he gracefully descended to the canvas without causing any pain or humiliation for either him or Baron. Nice. The best part of this final shot was Carmelo Hayes ominously approaching Trick Williams, but then we never get to see what happens next because we've run out of time. Perfect ending to the 2023 pay-per-view collection.